Now, the Water Research Commission, together with the Geek-Culture, hosting a W.R.C Youth Hackathon in Pretoria this week. Hackathon, you say? Yes, hackathon. What's this all about? Well, the purpose of the event is to gather young people in the tech and innovation space to be part of solving some of the country's water challenges by using technology. To tell us more about this, Khosi Jonas joins us from our Pretoria studio. She is the head of marketing and communication at the Water Research Commission. Khosi, thank you very much indeed for your time. So I guess depending on the context, the word hacker can either be a positive or have negative connotations.
Absolutely, absolutely. In this context, it's a very positive connotation. We've been looking at new ways to drive innovation, and we've seen from a design thinking perspective, and this comes with the new age of digital transformation. We've seen that there are new ways to solve problems in a very quick and efficient way. And the output then becomes, and the process is iterative, we fail fast, we get new ideas very quickly, and we're able to go straight to prototype. So I work in a water research context, and typical R&D processes are quite long. So you can look at a 3-year-long research process or even longer, depending on what the problem is. And we've been looking at new ways to try to involve youth within the context of the work that the W.R.C is doing.
Right.
And for a long time, we've done a couple of youth events, dialogues, and engagements, but it really hasn't given us the sustainability nor the penetration in terms of the new areas that youth are involved in.
Right.
We've got robust programs when it comes to sort of standard water research, technical research, water science stuff. But we really were looking for new things. And we met an interesting crowd called Geek-Culture in our last youth innovation in 2016. And what we could find was that we had really hairy research problems that we were spending a long time trying to fix, that lived comfortably in a digital space, that we wanted to test out and try, but our systems were not permitting us to do so. But these young kids found new ways to get together to ideate, form ideas, sense check their ideas, and even prototype their ideas in real time.
So let's talk about
these. They come from.
Yeah, let's talk about some of these ideas, Khosi. So it's a gathering of young people in the tech and innovation space trying to solve some of the country's water challenges using technology. But how? The big question is how? What are some of the possibilities?
Okay, so what we've done in this particular context is we took a couple of problems in the water management space.
Right.
And typically we've got an app called MiniSAS. The MiniSAS is quite a big program. It came out of a research program a couple of years ago, and it's around testing the water quality and health of rivers in South Africa. MiniSAS also allows citizen participation, so it's in the citizen science space where anybody, whether it's in rural, peri-urban areas, can test water and test the quality of water. And with climate change, emerging contaminants, this is quite a big issue. And we want to empower everybody to be able to do the testing. So we have an amazing tool, but this tool needs specialist and skilled researchers to do training and then show you how to test your rivers. We've got an application that we just couldn't really get off the ground because from a technology perspective, we just didn't have the right people in the room. We had great researchers, but there was that gap when it came to actually linking this research with technology.
Right.
So what we've done this time around at this hackathon, which is going to run for 2 days, is we've got researchers that are coming through from the University of the Northwest, from Stellenbosch University, as well as research managers from the Water Research Commission that will dialogue and set out a problem statement. And this problem statement is around the challenges that we're having with this application. Our aim is to have scalable solutions for water, and an application can help us do that in the context of this MiniSAS app. We're then inviting over 30 youth that will come together, be briefed on the research problem, engage in the robust dialogue in terms of the key and typical issues that we face in the water resource management space. And then they'll be given the full day to ideate. So what we found in some hackathons was that we get great ideas, really good technology advancements, but the problem is that sometimes they're behind the curve in terms of what's new from a context perspective and content perspective. And the Water Research Commission then closes that gap. So we'll have our research managers closing the gap in terms of what's current in water. We'll have the young students then bringing through the technology.
So I guess, Khosi, ultimately, you want to answer the question relating to the fourth industrial revolution. Can, I guess, young people build new markets by solving old challenges?
Absolutely, solving old challenges in new ways, but also solving old challenges faster. So the key thing that these processes of design thinking brings to the fore is that it allows you to test with the beneficiary immediately, but it also allows you to really fail fast. If the ideas don't work, we test them very quickly and we find out then. We don't find out 3 years later that we have to have a new research project that's going to run for another 3 years in order to get the solutions.
Yeah.
We fail very quickly and we test those solutions. So what it does do is that it brings us quite closer to the fourth industrial revolution, even though it's not really at the heart of the fourth industrial revolution, because there we're talking automation, we're talking machine learning. At the moment, we try to get an analog and a digital intervention together to bring us closer to digital transformation.
Yeah.
We understand that from a South African context, it will be a process. But what we found is that it makes sense to take contexts that work and successes, look at the weak points and see if we can infuse digital thinking or design thinking into those processes. What we will have in future is that more and more, once those processes are iterative and we can repeat them and scale them, then you can bring in machine learning and digital, and then it really becomes the fourth industrial revolution.
Yeah, look, one of the questions we're asking in terms of our poll question today is, as we usher in this fourth industrial revolution, do you think, South Africa is ready for these challenges? From your work on the ground, are you getting a sense that we are in fact ready to handle this?
I think that there's a lot of work to be done. I have seen a sense that there's quite great political will in terms of the fourth industrial revolution with the 4IR commission that's been set up by the president. I've also seen that there are big plans around data, but if we don't solve our solutions around the infrastructure, it's going to be very, very difficult for us to really move into the fourth industrial revolution and take full advantage of what it has to offer.
Yeah.
The other thing and the challenges that we also struggle with, especially in the research context, is that digital divide. So who gets left behind? Because it seems that sometimes when we talk fourth industrial revolution, those that have access already to technology will have greater access and will be able to reap the benefits. But those that don't get further marginalized. So those are key concerns that I think as a country we need to grapple with. When you think of Standard Bank recently with all of the jobs that they lost and how they have to now reskill a whole workforce and find new jobs for them. That's what the fourth industrial revolution means. It's not all doom and gloom, but it means that we now have to find new and really innovative ways to start using our resources. So all of those repetitive jobs and tasks are a thing of the past. But what it also means is that it frees up humans to do really interesting and engaging things and come up with new innovations. For us in science, it means we can combine indigenous knowledge and technology and ensure that we integrate the two, because for South Africa I believe that a fused methodology way forward is probably the best, because it is one that's going to ensure inclusivity and not a digital divide. And
especially using technology in order to help protect our natural resources. South Africa is, as you know, considered to be a water scarce country, and here at the SABC we always hammer the message of conserving water, protecting this natural resources. But from your research, Khosi, if the current rate of water usage continues, is demand likely to exceed supply at some point in the not too distant future?
So I think the reality that we as South Africans have to contend with is South Africa's water scarce. South Africa has always been water scarce, and that the behavior changes need to be sustained. So we can't say that we are out of the drought and now we need to go back to using as much water as we did in the past.
Correct.
We have to change our behavior. We do have in some areas of the country where demand already exceeds supply, and if we're not careful, we will end up in a very unlikable situation. So my 2 cents would be that let's change our behaviors and let's consistently try to use less water, because that's sustainable. Otherwise we'll keep on having these situations where we've got peaks and troughs, where we have and we don't have, and that's not sustainable.
Correct. Well, researchers, science practitioners, all under one roof. Tell us about some of the speakers.
So some of the speakers, we have key speakers from Ground Truth. Ground Truth are the partner agency that we've worked with that actually developed Mini-SAS in the beginning, which came as a research project to the W.R.C and was funded by the W.R.C. So Ground Truth will be there. We're going to have representatives from the department. It is now the Department of Human Settlement, Water and Sanitation. We have 2 representatives that will be there from the department. who have been working on a youth strategy, and we want them to be part of this so that they can see some of the movements that are happening in the youth space.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we can't wait for strategies to be implemented in order for us to have progress. We need to see the areas where we have low-hanging fruit and we can move quickly.
Yeah.
So we've involved the department in that because they'd like to see opportunities in terms of growing the youth space and also having more relevant interventions for youth.
Right.
We're also going to be having some academics in the space. The lead researchers that have been working on some of our water and big data projects will also be present. And then we've also have, just so that I don't lose my list, we also have a couple of youth associations that will be joining us. The guys that have just finished off the Green Youth Indaba, who are great partners of the W.R.C, will also be joining us to offer some support. And then the one thing that we'll be doing as well on the day is, once the guys have ideated and came up with great ideas, we're not just going to shake their hands and say that's the end of the day, because we're also committed to capacity development. So what we also like to put out there is that the W.R.C has also committed to absorbing internships for young students at the end of the program. So that's also our small bit in trying to make a difference, because we understand that it's been signaled that youth are important, that youth have to be collaborators and co-creators to the solutions that we have, and we're trying to ensure that they're also part of that solution.
All right. Khosi, thank you very much indeed for your time and your insight. That was Khosi Jonas. She is the Head of Marketing and Communication at the Water Research Commission, the W.R.C, together with Geek-Culture, hosting a youth hackathon on the 28th and 29th of June in Pretoria. And according to me, geek is the new cool.